Hey, it's Tim Randall with REIClub.com. I'm very excited today to share with you a new tool called DealMachine. With me, I have Matt Camp, who is the Vice President of Partnerships over there. And one of his roles is to educate investors how to use the technology platform to generate leads. So he does this on a day-to-day basis. He knows the software inside and out. And he held a similar type role at an Inc. 500 content marketing agency as far as being working with partners. And he helped that grow that firm from 8 to 80 employees. He also helped organize Funders and Founders, which is a virtual networking event connecting entrepreneurs with investors and vendors to help them grow. Matt, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Tim, thanks again for having me on. And again, like I've been a fan of what you guys are doing. So I think it's great to team up with REI Club just from a perspective of like you guys put out a ton of great content. You aggregate a lot of great tools and content, and where we really want to fit into the market and really help people is we're a technology tool to help enable investors. So it still takes them taking action. Like it takes them going out there, doing things like driving for dollars, using technology like ours to get out there and have that next conversation with property owners, and they got to but again, it's on them to take that action. So we love kind of being part of your overall network and overall content and curriculum, so that way we can be a piece of that, and hopefully a way for them to take action on the knowledge that they're getting through REI Club.
Thank you. That's awesome. We definitely appreciate collaborating, and I know we're going to talk today about how to use DealMachine for driving for dollars and connecting that to your mail campaign.
Yep.
But before we jump into the details of that, could you just kind of give a quick overview? Since DealMachine does a lot more than that, can you kind of give an overview of what DealMachine does before we get into the details?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, and Tim, you kind of teed me up there. We're definitely a technology to help investors. One, it's to help them find off-market deals. So help them create a unique list that only they have, and help them find that those initial deal or initial opportunities to really get in front of property owners and generate those deals. And then we're helping them build the list and then helping them with the marketing piece of it. So whether it be your skip tracing and calling and all of that, or you're sending direct mail pieces to get in touch with people. I know that this initial video will really dig in on the driving for dollars method, why it's valuable, and then how to do it properly through DealMachine. I'm happy to share all of the best practices that we have of what our top DealMachine members are doing to really get the most ROI possible from this, and then can dig into mail campaign best practices and how to get in touch with property owners.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to that, and I do want to try to spend some time actually looking. At some point, if you'll share your screen and kind of show us the nitty gritty, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, happy to do that. And then I know following up from this too, like you mentioned, our overview in general for DealMachine will be not just that driving for dollars piece, but we also can do, it's a free CRM attached to it to manage your pipeline of those leads that are coming in by driving. And then we also have a list engine piece as well, where that list engine is an area that you can pull lists from and start to market to people in a broader way. So that way you're kind of diversifying your list building strategies. So that's kind of, you can think about DealMachine broadly as kind of this driving for dollars CRM and list engine software, but the main thing we'll focus on today will be the driving for dollars and mail piece. So let me share my screen here to kind of help this out. But can you see that dashboard there? Hopefully.
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect, great. So Tim, I think how you can think about driving for dollars in general, like why we think it's such a valuable strategy, is that it truly is a list that no one else has access to. Like it's something where if you're putting in the work, or if you have a team out there driving for you, you're looking for distressed properties. So, driving for dollars, meaning literally getting in your car, driving around your neighborhood or, an area that you have access to, looking for distressed properties that just something is out of place, whether it be anything as obvious as like, a tarp on the roof or broken windows or gutters falling down or, paint peeling or whatever it might be on the outside, all the way through to the non-obvious stuff like our VP got his first deal because a house had Halloween decorations up in February. So like little things, little signs like that, where it's like, hey, the owner isn't quite taking care of the property necessarily for whatever reason. So, you're looking for kind of the distressed properties like that. Our goal is to help you while you're doing that, to be able to track those leads, to be able to create a list from those leads, to be able to get in touch with those owners. So we think driving for dollars is, from an ROI perspective, one of the best things out there you can do to see return on your money. So, we had that in mind when we were designing the software. When you first log in, you'll see a dashboard that has everything from our quick start guide, like really getting to learn how to use DealMachine more effectively. If you're already watching this video, hopefully you've got that down pat after this. When you scroll down, you'll see a combination of analytics. So it'll show you like how many leads you have in the system, how many deals have closed from that, where your deals are coming from. Like if you have anyone else on your team, was it added by you? Was it added by a driver? That kind of stuff. And then all the way to webinars and other education. Like we actually, like I mentioned, we really want our DealMachine members to really be educating themselves on all things real estate investing. So we put in quite a bit of webinars and case studies and that type of stuff here. So that way, when you dive in, you jump right into your dashboard, you'll be able to easily continue to educate yourself here too. We kind of start with this, as home base. To get right into your driving for dollars portion, you jump into the map here, and you'll see, when this loads up, you'll be able to see this is what you're going to look at on your phone whenever you drive around. So you download the DealMachine app, you flip this out, you'll be able to easily see, okay, hey, let's start driving around. Let's look for properties where if they're a black dot, that's just a property that you have not added to your CRM yet. A green flag right here means you are you have added it to your CRM. So you'll be able to see this map right away when you start driving around. You can actually toggle the view if you'd like to really see more of the satellite view and see kind of what the houses actually look like, to make sure you're tagging the right houses and following along that way. But if you are on our Pro plan, Pro or Enterprise, you'll be able to actually track your route too. So you'll be able to hit this button, start driving around, and you'll see a green line follow you around. So that way, whenever you go back in the app, you can see exactly where you drove, what neighborhoods you went through, how long ago you drove it, because it turns yellow after 6 months and turns red after a year. So you'll be able to see, I already hit this neighborhood, or hey, it's been a year since I went this area. Like maybe let's drive this area again. So, you get to track where you're going there. Going back to this view as well, one thing that I really recommend is our highlights feature. So that's definitely a pro tip that maybe goes underutilized, is if you click on highlights while, right before you drive around, you can actually go in here and see a quick list of potential distress scenarios. So you can come in here and say, absentee owner. Let's click on that and then apply preset. And what that's going to do is it's going to overlay the map and highlight with a box on every single house in your area that fits that criteria. So especially if you have somebody else driving for you, that's absolutely key to do that. But for yourself, like, hey, yeah, like you should drive around, you should enter any distressed property you find, but the ones that have a green box over them, really look hard at those, because they fit all the other criteria of what you've looked for. Or what you're looking for. So absentee owner, I'd say like that's a great place to start if you're a newbie, especially. Like I think people are much more likely to sell at a discounted rate if they have a real seller motivation and they don't live in the house, So I'd highly recommend starting with that absentee owner filter. But when you start driving around, I'd say start there, track your routes if you're on that level, if you're on that plan, highlight your properties to prepare to drive around, and then, start driving. So.
Okay. So what you're recommending is, because I kind of figured you work it both ways, that you might be driving around and you want to update information in your app.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying is it makes almost more sense to pre-filter the criteria before you even go driving around.
Yeah, which I don't want to discourage you from putting in properties that don't necessarily fit your exact criteria, but just know the ones that if you have good criteria, like you can get really, really specific and say, hey, I'm going to do, absentee owned, have a sale price of under 200K and haven't sold in 10 years. You can get really specific there. And if you apply those highlights, then like, yeah, these are ones that I'd say you're going to have a really high chance of, a much higher chance than the average property of making something happen there and getting something under contract. So,
Okay, gotcha.
so yeah, so I'd say like, start there. When you start to drive around, say you do see that property and you drive by it and you say, hey, yeah, this actually fits what I'm looking for. It's really a perfect property for me to reach out to the owner. When you click on that particular property, you'll be able to initially see, all right, they're absentee owned. You can see their mailing address of where they actually live. And then you can go down here and you'll see data around sale date, how much it's improved, the land value, the, kind of every bit of data that we have from the county assessor we'll pull in right there. You can go in here and actually take notes and things like that. So if you say you knocked on their door, and left a flyer, something like that. You can do, take any notes so that way exactly what you try to do to get in touch with this person. But the first thing you do is you hit add property right here, which, this is already, I've already added this one because it's a green, house right here. But the first thing you do is if you hit add property, that's going to add it to your CRM. So you can start to see a list populating of all your leads. It'll actually prompt you as well to take a picture of the property. And the main reason we advise that, and I'll get into that today on the mailer front, is your mail will automatically import that picture that you took onto the postcards that you send this person. So would highly, highly recommend that because your response rate is going to be way, way better if you have an actual custom picture of you taking that of the property and it's showing up on a mailer template that you send to them.
Yeah, of course, makes sense.
So you go in there, you're driving around, you see a property, say, hey, stop, take a picture of it, add it to your CRM right there. And then when you scroll down, you'll actually have two different marketing options to get in touch with them. So you've got skip trace, which I know if you're on our basic plan, it's 17 cents to skip trace. So just be aware of that when you're budgeting for marketing. And let's try to do that on the spot here. See if anything comes up. If we don't have any data on them, it'll tell you right away and won't charge you. But hopefully in real time, we can pull together something. There you go. We've got one phone number for them. So you can skip trace them and give them a call or a text right there. So you call them up and say, hey, is this Matthew? Just drove past your property, noticed that you had, XYZ, wrong with it. Like, would you be open to considering selling your property? Like, you can give an actual cold call on the spot right there. So that's kind of one marketing method of how to get in touch with the owner that we highly recommend. And when you're driving around, you can do that on the spot and say, hey, I just drove past your house and, I'm a local investor. I live in the neighborhood. You can be very upfront that way.
So potentially you can just call them and say, I'm sitting in front of your house.
You could, yeah. Do it not in a weird way, but like definitely say like, hey, I live down the street. I just drove by, or I just whatever it might be. So yeah, I'd say like a lot of our top users, they're using cold calling as a great way to get in touch with people. The other 50%, they're using these mailers. So your mail campaign here, that is absolutely key. Like this is the thing that when it comes to the power of this technology, like your automation and saving you time, this is why we created DealMachine, was for especially mailers. Like this is something we went through this process before, or I guess manually, the old way of writing down an address and looking up the owner and trying to write the postcard and send it to them. Took us like 25 minutes. Through DealMachine, you take a picture, you hit send mail, it takes less than 10 seconds. So that was the main reason we've built this technology. You go in here and you can see, you can customize, and I'll get into this next, but you can customize what kind of campaign you want to send to them. So here I'm just telling them, send them this template and send it every 21 days and don't stop sending it. So, I not necessarily would recommend that strategy, but that's, you can easily go in here. I think the follow through is absolutely key. Like I'd much rather recommend doing a campaign of like over a year, send them 3 postcards in the first 45 days, and then send them a postcard every month, month and a half, for the rest of it. Like, kind of make that initial impression with them, get on their radar. And that way you're on their radar. And when they're ready to sell, you've been staying top of mind because every so often they get a postcard from you. That's the strategy I'd recommend for our best users, our best DealMachine members. But you can go in here and even see the preview of the mail of when you take that picture, this entire postcard will have that picture. And you can go in our mail feature that I'll show you here in a second. You can customize all the text to say exactly what you want there. And, you can see it automatically pulls in their name, their address, all that stuff for you.
Okay.
So, you're driving around, you pull out your phone, pass a property, hit add property, add a picture to it, and then you can skip trace and cold call, or you can start sending mail right there on the spot. Cool. Any questions on that, Tim?
No, I mean, that's all really cool. But
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so if you don't do the highlights filters first, and you just happen to be, I'm going to go drive on my lunch break or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, then you can work it both ways. You can work it into the app and then from the app, either way.
Yeah, exactly. So you can filter right on the spot through the app, like on your phone. That's an easy option. But yeah, I think the key is consistency. Like that's the if you can build this into your routine and either hire someone to drive for you or drive yourself and just do it, a couple hours a week or, an hour a day or whatever the good habit is that you can build, like going to the gym or anything like that, it takes consistency. So, if you can get out there and make a goal of I'm going to add 20 properties a day or 100 a week or whatever it might be, get out there and try to make it fun. Like put on a podcast, put on music, bring a friend or family or, make it a fun experience that you look forward to. And you'll really get to learn your market just by driving around, like so much better, so much more quickly doing that too. So.
All right. So quick question before we jump into the mail. So do I have the ability to kind of save certain neighborhoods, certain areas, like, I found an area I really like. I want to make sure that I can find this area really easily.
Yeah. So it's funny. Obviously if you have the route tracking feature on, if you're a pro level member or higher, then you'll be able to see where you're going. So that's kind of your past data. One thing we're launching actually in a couple of weeks, so this is kind of a sneak preview, is we're putting out mid to late November will be the route planning feature. So exactly what you're talking about of saying, hey, I want to plan my route. I want to hit this neighborhood. Like show me how to get there. Show me how to drive around there, how to make sure I drive past every house in this block or this area. It'll be a GPS within the app and say, go this way, go this way, go this way until you've covered everything. So that's one big one, probably one of our biggest features we've been working on recently. So, by the time you see this video, it might be out already, but it's that'll be a big one to leverage to make sure you hit all of the right areas.
Okay. And on the mail, I assume I can have default. So like if I want to do the 3 times in 45 days and once every 2 months for a year after that, I could just set that as my default. Then I don't have to worry about it because everything's going to be that way.
Exactly. So jumping into the mail right here, this is, you customize all of exactly what you just said in the mailing feature, which is 3 layers. You've got signatures, which is literally your name, your picture, all of that. You got templates, which is the actual postcard template itself. And then you've got campaigns, which is what you're talking about here, which you can go in and make campaigns that you can say, all right, this campaign, I went in here and I said, send them this particular template. Do that, repeat it through. So send it 3 times and do it every 15 days. So you've got, that the initial step 1 is 3 postcards over 45 days. Then after that, come in here and send them this template 30 days later. And then come in here and repeat this template, 6 times, 45 days in between each of them. So, you've got, I guess, 3 + 1 + 6. So you got 10 total postcards that'll be going out over, a year or so with 15 days in between, 30 and then 45. So that's all the automation, like how to scale this, how to make sure you're consistently following up. And, you're going to have a way, way higher percentage of people respond to you after they've had, 5, 6, 7, 8 postcards versus sending 1 in one shot. Like we have plenty of people who they've sent them 1 or 2 or 3 postcards. And they're like, it didn't work. Like, didn't get any response. Well, like, I think that's a persistence thing. That's something that you need to, you maybe you made a mark on, like they perked up and paid attention because you sent them a great postcard that has their house on it and, had good wording in it. And you made an impression. They might have put it on their fridge and call you in 6 months. That happens all the time. But the key to it is, how do you stay top of mind over time? And I know our mailers, they're 55 cents per mailer. So they're near cost. Like, we try to make them as cheap as possible. But through this, you'll be able to easily automate and plan out how many mailers you're sending. And you actually, to show you when they're going out, if you go back to your dashboard, this is brand new, actually, like just launched last week, the calendar feature, which I don't have any mail scheduled currently through this account, but you would see, hey, here's all of my mail that's scheduled for this month. And you can click on and get a breakdown of, what it's going to cost and how many have sent and scheduled and all that type of stuff. So you'll be able to really kind of see more analytics around your mail here too.
Okay. So
based on
I'm
the campaigns.
going to put you on the spot here, but hopefully you maybe know the numbers. So
Yep.
based on what you've seen, how many pieces do people typically have to mail before they start getting responses, or is there an average of number of mailers per deal?
It's a great question. So I think, and this is really stressing, like, I want to reinforce the whole consistency bit of both adding leads and then marketing to those leads. Because we see people get stuck on either, where they go out, they have a great list, they added 200 properties or 50 or whatever it was, and then never sent any mail. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere, or never made a call. So there's consistency to adding those leads, and there's consistency to marketing to those leads. Based on those numbers, I mean, we've seen people literally pick it up in their fourth property they added, they got a deal. Like, that happens. You can get lucky sometimes where your mail goes out and it just is good timing and a great lead. I think where you really give it a fair shot is if you add that first batch of like 200 leads, and then you do like around at least 3 touch point campaign to them. So at least 3 mailers to each of those leads. So call it 600 postcards to qualified leads. And, what that would be, a couple $100, a few $100 there to really focus on your marketing and really make sure that you give that initial chance. And that's usually, that threshold is those first 200 like that, getting those in there is really when we see people start to land their first deal. So statistically, I'd say that some can be more, some can be less, like I said, but I'd say, like, go into it with that mindset at least.
Okay. Yeah, those are good numbers to have in mind. So I know you want to tell us about the various plans, or is there more things in the mailers you need to cover, or do we need to?
Yeah, I can give a couple really quick tips of like what our best people are doing with the mail, just to give you a heads up. I know the signatures piece, like your actual signature on there, if you can put a picture of yourself with your family or yourself with a dog or, a pet or whatever, like having something more relatable and more just showing the person behind the postcard, that's going to get a better response rate. So that's better than a company logo, I would highly recommend. So do that if you are comfortable with that. I'd say that's one pro tip. Going into the templates here, really quick, I know I really like the full template just because you get a big picture of the house in there. But these 10 templates, you can go in, these come custom already built out for you. So it's, already good wording and good design, all that stuff. But if you go in here and you can actually come in and add, the more custom you get, the higher the response rate typically. So you can say, hey, is this your vacant property? Or, I'm interested in purchasing your property. I saw you had, a tarp on the roof, or you can get more specific about it. That increases your response rate. One other bit here too, is you have the option to send ballpoint letters. I think those are like $1.75, I think, for those. So that, these ballpoint letters though, so it's definitely more expensive, but it's written to look like it's handwritten from you and look like an actual handwritten letter. So that's something I'd say mix in one of those every so often, because those usually get a better response rate too. So if you're going in here, you can customize your templates, you can create your own. You can get more specific within each of them, but I'd say you're not going to know what's working until you do more of it and start to get postcards out there. So just test and try to see what's working and what's not. But I know, to answer your plans question,
Yeah, and I mean, I know you could talk about this stuff for hours on end because there's so much there, but
Yeah,
I try to keep it fairly brief.
for sure. Yeah, don't want to go too long on this. I know this is the main bulk of the software. Like we'll do follow-up videos on the CRM, the list engine, and building and driving team. But this one I'm showing you right now is really the main bulk of what DealMachine's about. Is like this is what we started as, is that Driving for Dollars app. So really, like how you get started here is you've got $49 a month is basic, 99 is professional, and enterprise is a couple hundred a month. Basic, that comes with 500 new leads per month you're putting in there. You get access to it, then you can hire one deal finder, which is a driver, which we'll get into details on that on this follow-up video. You get our mailer pricing of 55 cents, skip tracing 17 cents, $1.75 for ballpoint letter, and then access to the mobile map. So that all comes with our basic plan. Pro plan, you get double the amount of leads and people and deal finders. You also get that route tracking feature. And then our Chrome extension is actually virtual driving for dollars. So you can literally sit on your couch. It's a Chrome plugin that you'll be able to just go into Google Maps and use Google Map images to drive around and do everything I just taught you through Google Maps, which is pretty cool. So that's another option. And then enterprise is when you really want to hire a driving team and not go out there, not be driving anymore yourself, but hire all kinds of drivers to generate leads for you. And I'll dig into that on a follow-up video. So I would say if you're going to sign up for DealMachine and do the 7-day free trial, definitely do it through Tim's link, because you'll get free deal credits and that'll go towards your postcards, towards your skip tracing, towards all of that. Whereas if you just went to our website and didn't use his promo code, then you wouldn't get that. So make sure, Tim, are you going to have that somewhere?
We'll have the link available, and I think the coupon code is REIClub, all one word, so it should be
easy to remember. There you go.
Easy to remember, yeah.
Cool. So make sure you go through that if you're gonna try out the trial, and again, Matt at DealMachine, you can feel free to .com. You can reach out to me via email as well, and I'm more than happy to coach you through best practices and make sure that you're seeing the full value of what our tech can do, and hopefully get you out there to start driving and taking action and get excited.
Well, I mean, you already gave some pro tips just during the demo too, so that was some really good stuff. Even that's useful anywhere, anytime. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, happy to.
And thanks again for taking the time to run us through DealMachine. And I'll look forward to the other videos. And anything else you want to end before we end?
No, I mean, I think, like I said, it's definitely something that we're not a service, like we can't do the heavy lifting for you. So it's definitely something where we want people to get out there and start building momentum and start to drive and make things happen. And, when you start to have those conversations with people and send out postcards and get calls, like it's exciting and fun. So it's, the more that you do it, I think the more that it'll build on itself.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much. And I guess we'll sign off for now. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.